Greetings petrolheads, welcome back to Automation, the car company tycoon game. So in yesterday's head-to-head, the Striker won, and today we're going to be seeing a head-to-head between the BGTC Khaleef by Arthur Wheeler and the Zion SX by Sinicon. So let's start with the first car. Alright, looks pretty Audi-ish on the front, at least 90s Audi-ish, but still kind of with the dual headlight and single round indicator. It's still kind of 80s-ish, I think. Pretty simple back end as well. I kind of like the color. It's definitely, you know, unique. I don't think we've seen a purple car before. Anyway, corrosion resistant steel monocoque aluminum panels, 5-speed manuals, 5-speed manual, double wishbones all around, 240 horsepower from a 2.8 liter turbocharged straight 6. Let's look at that. So this is a full aluminium dual overhead cam, 4 valve per cylinder, inline 6. It's got forged steel crank, I-beam steel conrods and forged pistons. Good +5 quality in here as well. So nice durable parts. 41 cam profile. Running pretty low boost on an air-to-air intercooler. Pretty small turbine, comparatively high AR ratio, medium-sized compressor, I would say. Multi-point injection frontal cylinder configuration, performance intake, running on premium gas, 6700 RPM rev limit, and that's actually a lot for 1987 with forged pistons, because obviously like. Lightweight forged pistons didn't exist yet in the game, and like 6700 for a stroke of 87 is like, I think you actually need the quality in the bottom end section there, you know, to even reach that reliably. There's a tiny bit of valve float, but nothing to really worry about. One straight flow and one reverse flow muffler and a high flow freeway cat. So this engine makes 240 horsepower, 236 pound-feet of torque, but I think on this one, more important than the peak torque is the torque curve. Look at that. This is flat between like 2300, 2400 RPM and like 5200 RPM. There's pretty much the full torque all the way. And then there's a nice power plateau from like 5500 all the way to the red line. Like this engine may not be the most powerful, but it's gonna pull. Like you probably won't be wanting for performance. Let's see what else this car has. An automatic locker. That's a this might be the first car with an automatic locker we've seen. It's probably not a wise choice, you know, for everyday driving, but which is reflected in the lower drivability on the tooltip compared to the geared limited slip diff. But it's cheaper, and I don't know if how much difference it's really gonna make here in the game. So 215mm sports tires all around, sitting on 17-inch alloy rims with +3 quality. Actually, there's also +5 quality, so definitely a lot of work having been done with the quality sliders, I have to admit. Vented disc brakes front and rear, 3 pistons up front, 1 piston on the rear, and a more comfortable setup on the rear than on the front to balance it out a little bit better. More quality points in the aerodynamics section and a fully clad under tray. power steering, ABS, +1 quality in the entertainment and assist section, and then advanced safety, progressive springs, gas monotube dampers, and +5 quality in suspension. So I'm expecting this car to be among the more expensive ones, like almost certainly. Yeah, it is 34,500, but look at that, 82.1 in the GT segment, 82.1. That's that's amazing. Let's look at the main stats. 44 drivability, 37.7 sportiness, 50 comfort, 49.4 prestige, and 49.4 safety. So, in a way, with the fact that this is a turbocharged straight 6 car, and with what seems to be a little bit of a higher focus on comfort, this kind of reminds me of the week 1 winner, the Rondini 346. Only difference is that this car makes quite a bit more sportiness while also being more comfortable and more prestigious. It doesn't quite have the same fuel economy though, and the running costs aren't as cheap. Now let's look at the performance. .6 seconds 0 to 100, quarter mile of 14:24, 251 kilometers an hour top speed. So this is definitely among the quicker cars, despite also being one of the heavier ones. So, I mean, sure, we've had cars that were cheaper to run and cheaper to buy, but I think that this car can justify its pretty high asking price, and the running costs aren't that bad after all. But I think if you were to buy this in 1987 in real life, I don't think you'd be disappointed in it as a GT car. I think it ticks all the right boxes. And now let's look at the other car, the Scion SX. So this one looks very 80s-ish, I have to say. So like styling wise, this is very era correct, at least in the front end. These taillights are more 90s-ish probably, but still, you know, they suit the car. Yeah, lots of like individual, like more like, I don't know how to describe this, more smaller and very boxy and straight lines for grills and vents. Everything's very straight. But yeah, I like it. It suits the era. Corrosion-resistant steel monocoque partial aluminum panels, 5-speed manual, double wishbones, all around, 250 horsepower from a 3.6 liter naturally aspirated inline-6. This is one of the few naturally aspirated inline-6s. Let's check it out. 3.6 liter, much larger bore than stroke. Full aluminum, 5 valves per cylinder, kind of unique there as well. Forged steel crank, I-beam steel Conrad's forged pistons. 46 cam profile. 8.7 compression, it's actually quite low. I'm expecting either a very lean fuel mixture or very advanced ignition timing. Actually, both. And driving to 6500 RPM, we got multi-point injection, single configuration performance intake, as well as some long turbo headers, a high flow freeway cat, and 2 reverse flow mufflers. 250 horsepower, 238 pound-feet of torque, a very smooth torque curve, like you would. This is pretty much the way you would expect like a naturally aspirated inline six from that era to kind of look as far as torque curve goes. Let's check out the other stuff about this car. Viscous limited slip diff. Apparently the top speed is going to be gearing limited. So is this one restricted to 250? Wait, could it go faster? Oh, 251. Okay. 235s all around, sports compound road tires, 16-inch alloy rims, +3 quality. Very, very aggressive pad type on the front brakes. 3 piston vented discs up front and then 1 piston on the rear. Quite small brakes overall. Like 250s up front, 220s on the rear. It's kind of interesting, but we also have a fairly comfortable pad type setup on the rear brakes. And no cooling airflow, so I'm actually quite interesting that with this small of, like with brake discs this small, it still doesn't make any brake fit. That's actually interesting, even without brake airflow. It's got a fully clad under tray. All the wing angles are set to 0, you know, the kind of lips, and the rear boot lid has like, they only have cosmetic effects. And -5 quality in the aerodynamics section. Maybe that was to cut down the costs a little bit. And same might be said for the safety equipment, or to make it lighter, you know, because advanced safety is quite heavy. So is the luxury interior with +3 quality though. Standard springs, adaptive dampers, and 48.3 drivability is better than the Khaleef, sure, but as far as naturally aspirated cars go, 48.3 drivability is the lowest we've seen, isn't it? 37.3 sportiness is good, 43.7 comfort is decent, 38.5 prestige is a little bit lacking, I think. Let's see what it cost, $32,100, so it's $2,400 less expensive than the Khaleef, but I don't see a whole lot of green here on the market. 55.4 in the GT category as opposed to the Khaleef's 82.1. That is a massive difference. Let's check out the running cost as well. So it's, you know, a few dollars less expensive. I think the Khaleef was like 32.0 something, 03, and then a 31.67 here, so that's almost the same. And performance. $14.32, so it's slightly slower, but it has like, it's very far off the Khaleef's 50 comfort and 49.4 prestige. That's like 11 points in prestige less, and 11 points in prestige is a lot. It also doesn't make like that much more drivability despite being naturally aspirated. And I don't know, comfort is much lower as well. Running costs are about the same. Yes, this car is a little bit cheaper, but I think I'm gonna have to give this one to the Khaleef. It's just, it doesn't really have any glaring weakness, whereas this car is a little bit behind in terms of comfort. It's about average, about in the middle of what we've seen in this competition, but in terms of prestige it's definitely on the lower side. Combine that with, you know, running costs being pretty much the same, but the fact that you just feel like you get more car with the Khaleef. And that is why it can also justify the $2,400 more expensive asking price, in my opinion. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you with the votings for the weekly winner tomorrow. Goodbye.